a couple of products jumping off the shelf there behind.
Wanting to be sold.
They really want us to be sold. Hi everybody, it's Mel here on day 3 at the Australian Toy Hobby and Licensing Show, and we are here with Susan and Brian Young from Mr. Puzzle. We're going to be talking about the puzzle industry and also their online store. First of all, where are you located in Australia?
We're located in Tamborine, which is just in from the Gold Coast in Queensland.
Yeah.
And we've been online now for about, what did you say before?
We've been online since 1997, but only online with no bricks and mortar since 2002.
Okay. And what has sort of led you to having an online puzzle store?
Just the business evolved over the years. We used to we started we were manufacturing puzzles, and probably some of the fewest people in the world manufacturing puzzles back in early stages, and we used to do markets for 10 years, just local fair type markets, and eventually evolved. We did wholesaling for a while, and then eventually different business just had to evolve, and when the online came on, we were making more money online than we were in a market, so we just cancelled the markets basically.
Yeah. I think also because you Brian went to markets a lot in a tourist area, and his product became collected by tourists, and so that's all over the world, and their way of reaching us was email.
Right, okay. What product was that?
That's the puzzles,
That
literally
puzzles.
just puzzles,
Puzzles that maybe he designed, or old designs, or that became collectible and reached collectors. So
there's a seems strange, but there's collectors out there that like stamps, no different.
So have you had people that have stayed with you from the beginning to now? So that do you have customers that stick with you regularly?
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure. And some of the limited edition type puzzles that Brian's done that you wouldn't see in a commercial setting like this, but those are resold at auction for quite high values.
Can you give me an example of one of those sort of puzzles?
One of the Katie Koala was one that we made. How long ago was that? It was made about 5.
We made it in 2013,
and it was sold for over $1,000 Australian, but one auctioned only recently for €7,000. So we didn't get the money.
So we're not talking about. Oh well.
Damn.
Hold on to it for a little bit longer next time. So we're obviously not talking your standard 1,000 piece flats jigsaw puzzle.
No, we're talking what we call mechanical puzzles.
Yeah.
And these particular ones that are becoming they're in vogue at the moment are what we call sequential discovery puzzles.
Okay.
The best way of describing those would be a online game. So you would start the puzzle, you would do a small part of the puzzle and something might come out. It might be like in Katie Koala, she was holding a little leaf, and you would take the leaf out, and then you would unscrew a little brass stem of the leaf. Now then, the next part's not so beautiful. You'd stick it in her eye, and then you would actually release a lock in the back of her head, then a part of her ear would come out. Then you would unscrew bits off the ear, add them to other bits, and then you would do another key. There'd be you'd be making keys or something the equivalent of all the way through the puzzle, and eventually you would open a pouch, a packing puzzle of 3x3x3, especially not just a normal packing puzzle, but something special, that when you reassemble the packing puzzle, you would make a baby koala. And it had to go onto a back, and then that released another door, and then you could get into the...
So there's stages
many stages.
And people who have grown up with online games that are staged are now really into these physical
problem solving, where people were gaming and we're doing one puzzle here to get to the next room or the next level.
That's
now moving into
a physical.
And then and if there are
very in vogue.
And if there's slightly a collector bug in them, now they've got something they can put on a shelf and show people, rather than come and have a look at my PC and see.
So these are very nice.
Crafted
wooden artworks as well.
So you can present them as well. And
So this is a beautiful wooden koala that stands like this. It's quite big. So it's evolved over a long time.
And so So you're making these types of
Those
puzzles,
ones we make,
designing
yeah,
as well.
yeah. We're designing and making those particular types of puzzles.
How do you go about that? What's your process for developing
it's surprising.
an incredible puzzle like that?
It's surprising where those ideas come from. One of the last ones we did, we called it the 3 wise bolts. And all I was doing was sitting watching on Facebook, and a YouTube came up, and it was how to undo. If you didn't have the right size spanner, you could use a nut and bolt by screwing the nut down on a bolt, on the head of another bolt, and then using that as a spanner. So I looked at it and said, I can make a puzzle out of that. So we designed a puzzle.
Don't ask me.
you're
I
not
have
doing
no
that.
idea how that works. I have no
Can
idea.
you solve them?
No.
Can you solve them?
No.
she's-
I'm really an administration person.
Yeah.
We pay her too much to play with puzzles.
The business side, you make
Yeah. I have to make. Somebody's got to make that happen. So I don't know.
So you get your ideas from all sorts of weird and wonderful places. Sometimes too, when you have something weird in your head, and then you go to try and make it, it's physically impossible. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
So then you just have to say, right, no, you don't give up. You just say, well, there's got to be a better way of doing this, or another way of doing it, and it's amazing where that leads you as well. You can end up with some pretty weird ideas.
Yeah.
So bringing this into sort of the commercial the puzzle market, like we have some products here on the stand that mystery, mind, logic, puzzle, escape rooms. Is that also something that you're seeing a trend in as well?
Yeah.
Feeding off this?
Yeah.
Definitely,
Well, we
yeah.
will even here. We'll buy twice as many as we bought last year.
Wow.
Because I think we're seeing. Well, we were sold out pretty much in December, and we were budgeting through the year as to what we would buy. So we didn't buy enough.
Yeah.
So that would mean to us that
Escape rooms and that are really fatty at the moment, really
Yeah.
trendy.
Yeah.
And I think we were talking recently to the guys who run Hanayama and the metal puzzles Hanayama.
Yes.
Then in themselves are a phenomena.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's like computers have come. Well, not full circle, because of course computers are in everyone's lives, huge, computer games and all that sort of stuff. But there's also young people who are really starting to collect puzzles, and people who are really wanting to get into the physical. So I think people are wanting to have both now. Like there may have been a small time there where people were not really doing physical puzzles.
Yeah, very
we
digital.
didn't really notice it that much. But what we have noticed is in the last few years a definite upsurge in
I think people are looking for
Physical?
a digital detox as well. You're talking about that
It
generation.
could very well
Yeah,
be.
I grew
exactly.
up on computer games, playing puzzles,
Yeah.
and I was one of those.
Yeah.
I played a lot of computer and puzzle-based games. But then computers become work when you're
True.
older, and
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you
yeah.
don't always
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
spend all your time on when you're socialising.
Yeah,
True,
yeah,
true,
yeah.
So how do you do what you love,
And-
but also get to socialise and have
Yeah,
fun?
yeah.
It sounds like
yeah,
this
and
is what's
and maybe
helping
that's
market.
part of the thing about the escape room or murder mystery and stuff, where people are playing them around the dinner table or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a good excuse to have some fun together as a group, and everyone's not.
Not
Yeah.
glued to the screen.
Yeah, they're getting
You know,
involved with each other.
I think people are just recognising that they're sick of that.
Yeah. That's
True.
right.
Maybe,
Another-
but there's a lot of fun, in problem solving together.
Yes.
I mean, look at the phenomenon of escape rooms in the physical around the world. I think I saw some statistics recently, like 80,000. Would I be wrong?
Wow.
It
Yeah.
was a huge number, a
Yeah.
huge number. Which just seems unbelievable considering like 10 years ago you never heard of it.
Yeah, yeah. Another big number I heard the other day when we were talking to you was you have an incredible puzzle collection. Little segue there into your puzzle collection.
I've been collecting puzzles for a long, long time.
And I was saying 5,000 and Brian was saying, oh, it's probably a few more than that.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, but you're not going to get me to commit something in front of
Okay.
my wife, are you?
Are there those moments when you sort of sneak another puzzle into the collection?
Every year, if I go into what's called the exchange, because like I said, there is a huge group of people in the world who collect puzzles.
Yeah.
and no different to stamps. And they have actually a conference once a year, and it's rotated around the world, so it rotates from different continents in the world, and it's called IPP, and they called it International Puzzle Party. They didn't want to use the word conference way back at the beginning because they wanted to sound friendly and
Well,
and
it's a
fun.
non-commercial.
It's non-commercial,
Yeah.
and people don't go there really to be commercial. They go there to collect.
Right.
So a gentleman by the name of Edward Horden, sadly he's not with us anymore, he started back some 20, 30 years ago. He came along with a number of puzzles that he invented or made or whatever, and he gave them out to everybody at the conference. In those days it would have only been 20, 30 people in someone's backyard for a barbecue.
Yeah.
And then and it's now called the Edward Horden Exchange. So you would go to this conference, and we would, if you were in the exchange, you would take, say, about 70, 80, maybe 100 puzzles, all identical, not commercially made. It has to be a new design and well made. They're the three criteria. And you would walk in one morning, and it's like Christmas. You hand one puzzle over and someone gives you another puzzle. So you walk out of the room with 100 different puzzles, and you get 12 months to play with them before the book comes out. Well, sometimes the book takes a little longer, but you get to...
So no solutions given.
No solutions
No
given.
solutions given. So you've got 12 months, you've got to figure all these puzzles out, and then
But,
you do it. It takes 12
so,
months.
you know, that's, it's
It does. Because you've got to fit in with everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that collection is boosted pretty quickly in something like that too,
Yeah, you'd probably add maybe between 150 and maybe between 100 and 150.
Yeah.
And what do you think of the Australian puzzle market here? I mean, it sounds you've obviously travelled overseas and seen other puzzle markets.
It's increasing. It's well and truly increasing. We've sold very expensive limited edition puzzles for many years, as we talked about before. Now you're finding a lot of Australians buying puzzles like that now.
Yeah.
Where before they thought that if it was over $10 or $20 in Australia, we might have had, you could count on one hand how many people would have bought expensive puzzles in Australia. Now, it's quite high, and I think YouTube's got a lot to do with that as well. It's just that there's people blogging puzzles, and
I've been seeing a lot more of them.
and some of these guys have got millions of followers.
Millions and
You know,
millions
and
of
something like
followers.
another one of my puzzles that was blogged by a Canadian a while back. I think it's at the SMS box, and it's sitting at
12 million
12
something
million
views.
views.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
just incredible,
It's incredible.
For any product that's
Yeah,
not,
yes, brilliant.
a famous actor or famous actress or something like that,
Yeah.
But this is a puzzle. This is not,
Yeah.
one of those really what you would call mainstream commercial product.
It's it's a nerdy thing. Yeah.
It's a nerdy thing,
Nothing wrong with that.
It's not the latest Apple iPhone.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Or
It's not
something
mainstream, is what we're
lipstick,
saying. Yeah,
No,
that's
so
right.
it's fun. That's a lot of.
That's a lot.
Well, you're certainly selling me.
Mm.
I want to try the Katie koala puzzle, but I don't have a spare 7,000 euros.
Yeah,
So
they-
I
We
might
don't
be waiting
have-
for that one a little
And we don't
while.
have a spare Katie koala.
Oh,
so
no.
Yeah.
They all went out a long time ago. Yeah.
Well, it's been an absolute
Okay.
delight to talk to you both.
Nice
Thank
to
you
meet you.
so
Thank you very much. It was very nice.
Brian Young and Susan Young from Mr. Puzzle.